So I'm going to give the bat the ability to damage our player. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a variable called push. And we're going to add knockback to the attack. So when the bat collides with the player is going to go into the damage state, and the bat's going to set its push variable to either a negative number or a positive number, which the player's not going to have any control over the knockback. So we're going to check for whether they're damaged or not. So if current equals state dot damaged, then, and we're going to add this in, by the way. Alright, so here's the collision code. We're going to make HSP equal push, and we are going to decrease push by using lerp. So we used lerp for the camera, but we can actually use lerp for negative and positive numbers. So this is easy. We can just do lerp push and then 0 and then 0.1. So slowly the player is going to get pushed back, and every time it moves, it's going to move back slower and slower and slower. So it's going to de-accelerate. So that's pretty much it. And when state damaged is off, then we're going to do push equals 0. So alarm 1. And we can go over here and we can go into obj bat, and we can do if place meeting. And what this will do is that it'll check whether we're collided with the player or not. If place meeting x, y, obj player, then if, actually, we'll do this as well, and obj player dot current does not equal, and we may have to do something a little bit more complicated here, state dot does not equal state dot damaged, then obj player dot push equals, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the absolute value, no, not the absolute value, we're going to use a sign variable, and we're going to take our distance from the player. So we're going to take our current x value minus the obj player dot x value. So if actually we may want to do this the other way around. So what this will do is that if our x value is, or if we're farther from the player to the right side, so if the bat is right here and it's 532 and it's right here and this is 450, it's going to equal a negative number, then we're going to make it negative, and then we're just going to multiply it by the speed we want our player to get knocked back. So let's go over here, sine times 5, and actually maybe I'll just do times 7, and we'll set its state, so obj player current equals obj player state damage. We'll go into here, into the damaged debug code, and we'll copy and paste this. Now, when we want to modify another object's variable, we want to have the name of the object and then dot and then its variable. So that's something that I forgot to mention, but it's important for you to know. So we're doing this from the bat object, so it's going to modify the player object. So this should work. So if we collide with the player and they're running, then we are going to damage it. Here we go. See? Ooh. Uh-oh. We're going to make it just so there's one bat, actually. We'll do that for debugging purposes. And just another thing, we'll add this debugging thing. Well, we'll do if keyboard check pressed board R game restart. What this will do is that this will just restart our game if anything goes wrong. See over here that we can't control our player while it's damaged. Now we're going to want to give our player the ability to fight back. Now, you can see over here that our health bar is lowering, or our hearts are lowering as we're getting hit from the bat. Now, what we'll also do with the bat is that since the bat's just going to keep on going towards the player, we are actually just going to go ahead and destroy the bat. So we'll do instance destroy. And I'm going to create a nice little cosmetic effect. And I'm going to do obj ghost. And what obj bat will do, and we'll mess around with instance create. We'll do that a little bit more later, but we're going to use the instance create event or instance create function, and we're going to create a object that has our sprite index, and it's going to fade away. So we're going to go into the step event, and there's a built-in variable called image alpha, and image x scale and image y scale. Now, image alpha, it's between 0 and 1. Each object by default is equal to 1, but if I make this 0.5, it's going to be half as visible. It's going to fade the more that you decrease this number. So let's go ahead and let's do image alpha minus equals 0.01. And if image alpha is less than or equal to 0, then we're going to do instance destroy. And all we have to do is go to obj bat, and we can go into rm test, and you can see we have to look for the name of the layer we want it to spawn in. And we're just going to use the instances layer, and we're going to do instance create, and you have to state the x and y value. Instance create layer. You have to state the x and y value of where you want the object to be created. So x, y, since the bat that is dying is running this code, we can just use its x and y value. X, y, instances, and then we'll do obj ghost. Now, another thing I want to teach you is how to get the ID of that specific instance. Well, like I told you earlier, each object has its own specific object ID. Now, if I take a variable and I make instance create layer equal to that variable, it's going to create that object, and it's going to give us the ID. And if we wanted to, we could do with key instance destroy, or we could do, with key sprite index equals whatever. All we have to do, which you can do it that way, but what we're just going to do here is we're going to do key dot and sprite index equals sprite index. So this is our sprite index, and this is the key's sprite index. Now, of course, we want to do var since we want to make a temporary variable, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. And the reason why we want to destroy the ghost object is because we, don't want lag. So if you see over here, here's the bat, and you can see the bat faded away. So we're going to do a couple of more things. We're going to do key dot image angle equals image angle. So we're going to set its image angle, and we could do some other cool stuff with obj ghost. So we could do image x scale minus equals 0.1 and image y scale minus equals 0.1, and we'll just make it shrink away when it also fades. So we'll make it fade and shrink. As you can see, the bat died. So it looks like that's a bug over there, but I'll figure out how to fix that. HSP push, HSP tile, HSP. So yeah, pretty much we gave our bat the ability to damage our player. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fix this problem and figure it out for the next lecture.